How's it going, guys? We're here at NIADA, which is the National Independent Dealers Association. This is a great place to get some information to help your struggling business. There's banks out here that are showing amazing programs. There's some really cool app manufacturers that do some really cool things with their inventory and your CRM. I know a lot of people don't know about this. This is something that independent dealers need. Now, there's over 40 to 50,000 of us across the United States, but there's only 1,000 of us here in Las Vegas. As of right now, I think I'm the only dealer here in Las Vegas that actually showed up to a convention in Las Vegas. So that just lets you know that we need more people to come out and help support this. Unfortunately, it's not open to the general public, but it's great if you're getting into the automotive industry, you want to learn about some stuff and talk to some people, come in with one of your dealer friends, get a badge. It's a great place to learn. So right now we're just going to walk around, check stuff out, and then we're going to go ahead and interview some people. So this gentleman right here is the main reason why I came. I wasn't invited, but Jeff reached out to me. I want to thank him so much. He actually has a podcast on YouTube, the Independent Dealer Podcast. You should definitely watch it out if you're in the automotive industry. So what brings you, well, actually tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you do, your podcast, and then what brought you here to the convention.
Dude, what I know I'm going to be in Vegas, and I'm like, I got to take a chance. I got to reach out to Lucky. I got to get him to come. I know he's a dealer. I know he's in the backyard, so I took a chance on him. Dude, seriously, thank you for coming. Like,
thank you for the invite.
Time,
yeah,
right?
It's been a blast. It was only supposed to be a 1 hour thing, and I've been here for 3 days.
And I
straight.
talked to him to stay. This guy, legit, man, friends with everybody. Like, Lucky, it's been great. So I'm an independent dealer, Southern Utah. I got 2 locations. I do buy here, pay here. Yeah. So the reason I come to these things, man, is honestly this. It's this camaraderie, man. It's meeting dealers. It's having conversations at lunch and at dinner, finding out how dealers do it differently, better. Like, the whole philosophy is like, you don't know what you don't know.
Correct, yeah.
And so many times you think you've invented the wheel and you think you figured it out, then you come here and you're like, oh my goodness, I could do that. Or this would have been so much better. I would have skipped so many hard lessons had I just gone to a convention of peers and experts and like done it right the first time.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot on my channel, is that dealers really don't get a chance to really share information. They always think that like they're going to steal my business, where this has been a nice 180. This convention, I've seen, like you said, people from different states, different dealerships sharing tips, sharing secrets, and I think this is very important for industry because we don't do this enough, and we need more stuff like this because, I mean, unfortunately, society thinks we're all a bunch of assholes, but I think we're pretty cool, but a little bit of shady assholeness, but not as bad as what most people say. But this convention is completely changing the narrative of, like, makes me remember why I missed the car business.
Dude, it's legit because there's like, what, 50,000 independent dealers in the U.S. or something active. And there's like 15,000 that are in the association and maybe 1,000 that show up here. So this is like the top of the top of the top, right?
Yeah.
Dealers that want to learn, that want to get better, that want to change the narrative of the industry. Like, this is where you find, like...
You brought up a great point. Everybody that's here, I think the reason why I'm so excited is because they're open-minded, they're willing to learn, they're willing to change. One of the things I tell a lot of my viewers and stuff is dealers don't want to accept change, they're fighting it, they're trying to stay in the same things. Everybody here seems pretty receptive to change, looking for the next thing, looking how to be better with their customers, better with financing, just improving their overall operations. And I think that's what's going to make this place so successful, this convention. So are you going to come next year?
Yeah, I will absolutely. I come every year, and there's a couple different ones throughout the year, you know, the Buy Here, Pay Here convention, things like that. Again, it's like the industry's changing, but mostly it's like checking up with dealer buddies, you know. It's like a class reunion, you know. We come in, we see how we're doing, we see what they're doing differently, what vendors they like, what programs they're into, you know, what's helping their dealership be more profitable or turn cars quicker. So it's really just a cool time to check up with your peers and check in.
Awesome. Well, real quick, can you tell us about your podcast, the name, and then what type of guests you're looking for? And also, if you're a dealer, you should definitely hit Jeff up. I'll put his information down below.
That is so awesome, man. So me and another dealer from South Carolina, Luke Godwin, we host the Independent Dealer Podcast. It's honestly like 4 years ago, I was probably listening to like Gary Vaynerchuk, who said something about like podcasting. I was like, dude, we need a podcast that's by dealers for dealers, right? Like, I'm not a vendor. I'm not pitching you a product. I don't want to sell you my freaking whatever. Like, I'm curious. I want to talk to vendors. I want to talk to industry experts. I want answers from my own operation. So I was like, well, why don't we just record it, put it out there? So it's the Independent Dealer. It's super low production. Like, the quality of the content is probably junk, but
the educational information is priceless. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. If you are an independent dealer and you own a lot, buy here, pay here, retail, lease here, pay here, whatever you do, like, we hope we bring you value, you know?
Okay, definitely. So if you're a dealer or you have some sort of a system that can help dealers, definitely reach out to Jeff, and let's go ahead and take a lap. Okay, this is my favorite part. We're all going to predict the future. Where do you see the automotive industry in 6 months?
Get my crystal ball out. So I think the like as far as independent space goes, and if you're talking about like used car dealers, like obviously I listen to your stuff, man. I know you're preaching that banks are tightening up, like it's going to be harder to get people approved, interest rates like crash, like we have a ton of repos hit the market, we have a ton of inventory hit the market, all the new car stores catch up, all the rental fleets start dumping their stuff because they're aging out. Like sure, we could have a complete, like, not a collapse, but definitely like a settling of used car prices. So I'm looking forward to that because I need affordable transportation for my buy here, pay here. And at the same time, man, like, dude, a good recession is so good for buy here, pay here, man. Like, I need to be back in 2010 when we had good people with bad credit, right? Like, people got wiped out from the recession, and I had customers coming in that were just great people. They just had a bad situation, a foreclosure. Like, I want those customers back. So I kind of look forward to it. That sounds horrible, but like, yeah, man, let's get all this stupid Wall Street money out of the car industry, giving 500 credit scores, like $20,000 Mustangs with an $800 payment.
$40,000 Mustangs.
Yeah. It's crazy what people just have proven everyone with a pulse. So now that they're taking their lumps, they're starting to tighten up, and then it's time for me to shine.
Exactly. I'm here with the nicest banker on earth. This is David with Veros Credit. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to find out, what does Veros do to help a lot of the independent dealers, especially as we're going into like a recession, some of your programs and stuff?
You know, one of the things where we stand out and where others may not, we do ITINs. We can work with people that have different challenges. And the coolest thing is that our funding department is not going to kick out a deal just because there's one little error here and there. We're going to be able to work with the customers and with the dealers to try and find a way to get that deal funded. Okay. And that, to me, super important.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys are watching, but like that's one of the biggest things and hurdles we're having is as we were submitting STIPs, if something doesn't look right, a lot of the banks kick it out and the deal is dead. And you guys are willing to work to help a little bit negotiate within means?
Everything we can to work with them.
Awesome.
And if you bounce into one wall, you find another wall.
Okay, now
keep on going.
When it comes to like lending, do you guys majority stay in the subprime market, or do you guys do prime customers, or what's your kind of bread and butter?
Veros Credit is in the sub to near prime market. So then those credit scores around the 500 up to say 620 or so.
So majority of the United States.
Yeah, exactly, majority. Now we are in 30 states, so it's not going to be the whole United States that we work with, but you know, the ones that we do very well in there, and the markets are definitely filling up for us.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of dealers just getting started are having troubles submitting to banks. Do you have any requirements when it comes to like being in business for like a year or two, or do you guys sign up new dealers?
We don't really have that. We do want to see that you have some sort of financial background. We want to see that you're not selling $2,000 cars. We're not going to be that bank for you. Mm-hmm. We're going to be the bank that looks more for the $15,000 to $20,000 car. That's really where our bread and butter is, and where we're going to be the most efficient. Also, where the customers are going to be sitting in that, that 550, 560 to 600 range.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be competitive with anybody in the game right now. And the really cool thing, and I like this a lot, you know, credit union rates have gone up. Our rates have not really gone up. So we're going to be able to be a lot more competitive in those markets.
Okay, very cool.
So, you know, if somebody can't do a credit union loan because they've got 2 open autos or something, that's where we might be able to step in and get the customer a decent rate. Yeah.
Well, here's one big question for you. As we know, like people are, getting their cars repoed and stuff like that. Do you guys have any programs for people that have a car that's repoed? Is there a certain thing you can do, or you guys just stay away from fresh repos?
Honestly, we can do a fresh repo.
But there's
a couple
obvious
months
stipulations.
Old. A couple months old. If they just had a car and then it just went upside down, belly up after the first month, no, we're not going to touch that.
Okay.
But, we all know there's extreme circumstances in there. And we are going to do the research on these if it's maybe the car was totaled out.
Yeah.
And the gap didn't cover it. That's something that we can definitely look into for them.
Okay, cool. Now, here's a hard question. You can answer it if you like. Where do you see the automotive industry in 6 months?
that's, I might get a little political on this one. So where we're going to be, rising interest rates, people losing jobs, the economy sliding downhill, what I think is going to happen, there's a lot of people that are sitting up in this tier right now, and with their bills going up, they may slip a little bit with their credit cards, with other smaller bills, unsecured notes, but they're going to be really good car payers. And I think that for the subprime market, there's going to be a lot of people here that fall into the subprime market, or at least our subprime market.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be in a very, very strong position.
Okay. Well, see, this is one of the reasons why I tell everybody basically the strength of your dealership is how many banks you have. So definitely look up Veros. I'll leave David's email down below if you guys want to reach out to them. They got, was it 30 states you guys are in? 30 plus
30
states?
30 states, dealer support at veroscredit.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we just got here to the eBay Motors booth. Unfortunately, the rep is actually out for lunch, but they have a really cool program. If you're a dealership, you need to check this out. They have a thing where you can do pretty much flat rate for a lot of your inventory to sell online. So it's definitely something you should check onto. I know a lot of dealers are afraid to sell cars online, but that is the future of where we're going as far as independent dealers and franchises. So make sure you check out eBay Motors. I'll leave the rep's contact information in the description below. Make sure to message them, tell them that I sent you. I'm here with Steve Burke, the CEO of Agora. Thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell us a little bit about Agora, what you guys do, and how you guys help dealers?
Sure. So Agora enables any car dealer to become a finance company. We believe car dealers do all the work. They create loans, then they sell them off to somebody else and give up more than half the profit. So we enable them to be that finance company.
Awesome. Now, can you tell the people watching what are some of the programs that you guys offer to help dealers kind of start their buy here, pay here journey?
Sure. And we like to say more finance companies.
Finance,
it's not really buy here, pay here what we do. So we supply all the capital, we supply all the technology and all the guidance to build a true finance company inside the car dealership. Call it a captive finance company.
Okay. Do you guys also handle payments and calling the customers and everything else?
Yeah, we personally don't. We have vendors that we hire to do portfolio management, full collections, loan servicing, asset remarketing. So we basically handle everything from cradle or from origination of the loan all the way to liquidation of the loan, including servicing and everything.
Okay, that brought me to my next question. I know a few of our dealers watching have pretty big portfolios. Do you guys buy or loan on auto loan portfolios that are existing?
Yeah, no, we lend on bulk portfolios. We do new loans with dealers, so the full gamut.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering that they got into leases, the lease, buy here, pay here type of thing. Do you guys purchase leases as well, or only just strictly traditional finance
We
notes?
just do retail auto. We don't do leases. I mean, to me, leasing has a place, but it's not a very liquid asset because not a lot of people will buy leases, so we pretty much just do retail auto.
Oh, okay. So I got two last questions for you. The first one is, what makes you come to this convention, and how are you enjoying it?
Enjoying it a lot. I've been doing this 45 years, so a long time. I had a lot of hair. Great convention. NIADA does a great job. TIADA. We go to most of the conferences. They all do fantastic jobs. I think what I like most about NIADA is the educational sessions for the dealers. I'm a big believer that dealers or anybody in business really needs to educate themselves because they'll do that much better.
Yeah, 100%.
So, NIADA gives them that opportunity, and then you have all the networking, which is fantastic.
No, I think that's like one of my favorite things about this event we talked about with a few other people is I believe these are all the dealers that are looking forward for the new trends. They're looking to change where traditionally a lot of our dealers, they kind of stay in the same rut. So I think it's really exciting to just the fact to get people like yourself talk about your company on our channel.
I like to call it the Blockbuster or Netflix experience.
100%.
A lot of dealers that I talk to just say, I've been doing it this way my entire career and I'm going to stick with that. And I said, that was what Blockbuster said.
Yeah.
And then Netflix came along. So, that's how I like to, that's my analogy.
That's the best analogy. I've told that actually a few times on my channel. Now, here's a tough question. This will be our final question for you. Where do you see the market in 6 months from now?
Good question. First I see commercial real estate as the big shoe to drop. that hasn't dropped yet. As far as the market, I think interest rates now are going to be stabilized. I don't think we're going to see that velocity of increase in rates anymore. But dealers have been squeezed. I mean, rates have gone up. Consumers are being squeezed on inflation and higher gas prices. Big one to me is if unemployment remains low, I think portfolios will perform. One concern I have is a lot of dealers that generated paper, a lot of finance companies that bought it at the height of used car prices, and they are coming down.
Yeah.
And, they'll probably come down a little bit more, but I'm kind of bullish on the market only because, when you have macroeconomic headwinds,
Yeah.
a lot of new customers come into the non-prime space, and a lot of those customers that come into the non-prime space want to work really hard to get back to prime.
Prime, yeah.
So they're going to pay and do the right things to really get back. So I'm kind of bullish on the market, but cautious.
Okay, because that's the main reason why I wanted to interview, is because I literally believe the same thing. I think a lot of the subprime lenders are going to be pulling out of our sector, and people that are doing their own financing, basically creating their finance company, are going to be the leaders and sell the most cars, be able to get the most inventory out, and actually kind of set the pace for their sales for the rest of the year. So I think it's very important. If you guys get a chance, definitely check out Agora. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out and
Lucky.
talking to us, and we'll see you out here in the real world.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So I'm here with Danny, the co-founder of VinQ. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know
Thanks,
this
man.
is last minute, but can you tell everybody out there what you guys do and how you can benefit dealers?
Absolutely. So we created a system that brings together 5 solutions: inventory management, market pricing, appraisal, merchandising, acquisition. But the reason why we brought it all together is because when you put those things in one package, then all of those insights and signals can all work together so that you can know exactly what you need to buy. Because when you buy the right cars, it lowers your customer acquisition costs, and you can go right to the marketplace. We created a system that has the most modern, best-in-class ways to make your car stand out in the marketplace, because we believe in this thing called highest authentic value, which means we want to make sure that the consumer knows all about the correct options, features, packages, dealer-exclusive items such as like warranty, certification, anything you do, because we don't want a race to the bottom. Yeah. We want a race to value, and dealers are the ones that provide that value. So we created a system for dealers to be able to win at. And I'm a dealer myself, so we built it at my dealership and beta it for 2 years, and then started rolling it out in 2018.
Okay, so here's one thing I specifically want to ask you is, I'm really big on buying cars from consumers. I don't like to go to the auction.
Yeah.
How does your software help dealers buy cars?
Okay, so I got to start with just a quick story. My dad started the company, my car dealership, but unfortunately about 10 years ago he had a stroke. And he was the one going to auctions and buying cars. And I hate going to the auctions because I felt stupid. I was like, last guy with my hand up, auction fees, transportation fees, post-sale inspection fees, right? It's like insult to injury. So I have a CarMax across the street from me, and I was like, gosh, they're buying a lot of cars. And people are stopping by and asking for offers, and they're like, have you had an offer before? And they're like, no. I get in the car, offer on the passenger seat. I'm like, there's something to this, right? Yeah. So we created a vehicle buying center within our dealership, and I hired a person, and we figured out process-wise how to scale the ability to buy directly from the public. But it was limited because we didn't have the technology to support it. So in VinQ, we created the ability to manage all of those lanes. So we know that a CRM does not do acquisition very well, does sales very well, right? The cadence, the process for acquisition, slightly different. So on inbound leads, we give offers to consumers that's generated out of our system, and all of that short and long tail follow-up is all done in our system. You can appraise in it, you can see what the consumer's asking, what you want to offer, you can set the appointments, you can go to them, you can do sight unseen appraisals, all of it. But then, here's what's even cooler. We bring in AutoTrader, CarGurus, Cars.com, Facebook, Craigslist, KSL, all these marketplaces, right into our system, all private party listings. The system will put an offer on the car based on how you appraise. The cool part is we can see what they're asking relative to what we want to pay, and we don't have to search. We can go right to the car, and then outreach, buy them. So my store is buying about 130 cars a month off the street with 3 people.
And I want to tell this for our followers. How big is your dealership? Because everybody thinks, like when I tell people I buy like 100 cars a month, they're like, it's not possible. You can't buy that off the street. You're doing the exact same thing. How big is your lot that you currently have?
Yeah, so in stock, if you go to my website, there's about 140, 150 cars online. We're selling retail about 125, 150, and then we're selling another 125 to 150 wholesale, because we do, I call it WAR, wholesale, auction, retail.
Yeah.
And so we've got teams, 3 guys, that one is in charge of wholesale, one in auction, one retail, and we truly buy in order to optimize within each revenue. And it's taken time to build that, but I'll give you an example. We have a client of VinQ, Bob Ruth Ford in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, population 9,000, buys 280 cars a month off the street on average. Guy sells 500 cars a month.
Yeah.
Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. And amazing, but not entirely unique, because the process is what drives the innovation. The technology is what allows you to scale that process.
Yeah.
So
well, the one thing that I keep telling people
I'm
is
holding your microphone like I'm
it's
interviewing
perfect.
you.
I know. The biggest thing, if you guys are watching, is you don't have to be a franchise store to get your software.
No.
I remember you saying you're going after independent dealers and stuff, but you could buy cars. I preach that so much. Creating a buying center, I think, is the next big thing for car dealers. And so if you have an ability to get their software, and then can you kind of tell us a little bit about the new programs you're rolling out for like independents? Because I know you're really big in franchise stores, but independents are like, I can't afford this, or how do I do this? Can you just explain a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So independents, as I am one, there's some pride that comes from innovation, meaning the innovation of looking at how are we going to market in a way to attract the right buyers to us, whether it's retail, whether it's lease here, pay here, whether it's buy here, pay here. But on the acquisition side, if you're going to get anything out of this video, at my store, we changed a process where it was when you call and anybody answers, we ask, are you calling about buying a car or selling a car? It changed the culture of how we think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so now everybody's thinking about acquisition. And so we bring that technology to be able to give salespeople, sales managers, if you have a vehicle buying center, that ability to then actually go after that. And we did it at a super inexpensive price. So like under $1,000
awesome.
with no transaction fees. Transaction fees today are what? $300 to $600 plus transport, plus post-sale, plus whatever confidence you're paying for.
Exactly.
In my opinion, auctions exist to create confidence between a buyer and a seller. It's time we stop paying that much for confidence.
Couldn't said it more better myself. Now, one thing I definitely want to talk about is, I know that your software does so many things that kind of combines the whole dealership experience. I really talk on my channel about getting one DMS, sticking to one platform that can give you the most bang for your buck, instead of having 6, 7 different softwares doing different things. They don't talk to each other. Just really quickly, I know you're pressed for time, but how does your system work with itself, with your DMS? And do you have any hiccups or bugs? And how does it make, I guess, running a dealership a little better and a little more seamless?
So in our world, if you were going to open up a car dealership tomorrow, Lucky, you would need a good DMS, you would need a good CRM, and you would need VinQ. Those are the 3 systems. So we have APIs with every DMS currently, and we have APIs with the majority of the CRMs that exist, and if not, there's this thing called an FTP where it's a little bit slower. It's 4 times a day versus instant, but the API is never a limitation on our end. We want that. So the whole goal is to speed up days to market, meaning how fast can you get a car online when it's API? It's instant, right? And then the next metric is days to sale. And all of those things are managed in our system, because at the end of the day, we want to know how are we doing, right? Like, and what can we improve? And all those signals are what exists. So when you appraise a car, you can see, how did I do on cars like it in the past? Do I have any cars like it currently in stock? How long have I had them? And am I going to lose money on them, or am I going to make money on them? So you have instant confidence when you're appraising a car. Or maybe we need to pull some stuff out of your CRM that says, hey, check it out. You've got 40 leads on cars like this car you're bidding right now. Might be a smart one to buy. Or maybe you did really poorly and be conservative. Those things are what give confidence. And we're so used to looking at like MMR or looking at, right? And it's like old information that also is biased, because it doesn't.
That is always skewed.
It doesn't include any of the fees or the transport or anything. And plus, it's a bunch of experts competing for the same inventory.
Yeah.
So you can mine your own data in a really cool way, in a really modern way, in a super affordable way. It's about a rising tide. We can help each other.
Awesome. Now, can you tell everybody, how do they find you and where do they sign up for your software?
Yeah, so a couple ways. You can go to vinq.com, check it out. You can find me on social and just shoot me a note. My favorite way is to introduce you to some of our clients. Like, just talk to them and say, there's a word I like, net effective. Like, why change, right? Yeah. It's like, what's going to be the net effective? Is it like, do I have more time? Do I have more money? Do I sell more cars? Am I have happier customers? Like, what's the net effective? And the only way to really know that is to talk to customers who've already made the switch. But to actually see the software, reach out, we'll set you up and you can play with it.
Awesome. Well, let me grab the mic from you. Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to leave a link in the description for all his information so you guys can sign up and check him out. And one last question. Where do you see the market going in 6 months?
I see the ASP going down, average selling price. I see more independent dealers that never did buy here, pay here, starting to get into buy here, pay here. So if pay attention to your average selling price and where you're making that profit, that is the quickest way to then change your acquisition strategy so to maintain a good churn and good grosses.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and have to come back in Vegas, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. All right. Yahtzee. Oh, we got a 6. Awesome. Where's my $1 million?
All right, here's your $1 million.
Oh, wow. Our beautiful bobblehead. So I found an old friend here at the convention. If you want to introduce yourself and also tell them about your company.
Yeah, do you want me to hold that? Or Jason Rice, I'm with LotPop. We have a tool called LotWalk. Basically, essentially, we're taking dealers' inventory management tools and combining it with their CRM data to give you, we've had a virtual lot for 25 years, but we've never had those two worlds communicate. CRMs don't talk cars, inventory tools don't talk leads, so we combine these two worlds, which it's a different approach to managing leads, managing based on situations on my lot and not the age on the lead. So if I'm heavy in large pickup trucks, I got leads, let's increase contact ratio. Problem is CRMs don't even allow you to isolate large pickup truck leads, much less figure out which ones you haven't contacted. So we help dealers do that virtual lot walk to understand what they need to attack that day. So.
Okay, yeah, because you'd be surprised at how many independent dealers we go to that have these great CRMs, but they don't target anything, they never go back. So if a dealer's watching this and they haven't really maximized their CRM, how can your software really help them kind of get over that hump and maybe teach them some good, practices on getting to their customers?
Let's talk about like if they're heavy. Example, if you have 20 in stock, but you're only on pace to sell 10, that's a problem. So instead of dropping the prices, if you have leads on those trucks, let's increase the contact ratio of those leads. Every day, every other day, let's start calling those leads. But the problem is if you have a 30 or 40 day old lead on a truck that's still in stock, your CRM is not telling you to contact a 30 day old lead every day, every other day. It's saying, hey, it's an old lead, call once a week, if they're even following up anymore. So that's where we're helping them out, is we're going to help them increase contact ratios based on problems on their lot. You're heavy in 30 to 35 grand cars, here's your leads. You're heavy in 2020s, here's your leads. Here's the cars, but let's do the leads first. So that's the first point, is doing that. The second thing is we found that 60 to 70% of their active leads in their system, let's say I pull 60 days of leads, there's 100 leads there, 60 to 70% of those customers can't buy the car that they wanted anymore. It's sold. Yeah. So then what would happen on the showroom? If a customer came in on a lot that's sold, I would say, hey, did you need an F-150? You're looking for a 30 grand truck because I got the Silverado. We try to switch them. We do it all the time. But do we do that with leads? So that's the other thing we're showing them is, hey, you don't have any leads on this truck, but you have 5 switch opportunities. There's a 30-day old lead that was on a Silverado at 40 grand. This F-150 is at 40 grand. Talk to them and see if you can switch them. Yeah. So that's the other thing. We're allowing dealers to recycle the leads they have, because right now lead count's going down, right?
We got to maximize that CRM.
So take those 60, 70%, start engaging with them and help them buy a car by positioning them something else, because that's all they want, is they want help buying the car. Instead of trying to sell them something, you're actually trying to help them.
No. And one thing I definitely want to talk about too is your podcast. Are you still doing it?
Yeah, so about once a week, YouTube, if you go to Lot Party or LotPop Inc., I call it Lot Party Quick Tips, but there's probably 400 on there. Because we'll do anywhere between sometimes 20 to 30,000 retail price changes with our dealers a month. So we do weekly calls, and so we'll do 30, 40, 50 price changes with them during that weekly call. And so we got a really good pulse on what's happening on the retail end. Example, I'm talking to a Jeep store, and they're like, man, our Wranglers are sitting because we got big incentives on these, and my 2021s, 2022s aren't selling. I got to drop the price. I talked to another Chrysler store, same thing's happening. And then I talked to a Ford or an independent dealer, and he's got a bunch of Wranglers. Yeah. I'm like, dude, drop your prices. I was just on 2 calls with these Jeep guys. Let's go. And that's this insight a Ford guy wouldn't know.
No, that's what I want to get to the point is, like, there's not very many dealers out here sharing information. So if you get a chance, definitely check out his podcast. Now, I got one big question for you. Where do you see the market in 6 months?
Oh man, I think it's down. I think it's big time down. We're seeing shopper counts down 20%. We're seeing no sale rates at the auction at 53%, only 47%. It's 20% below where it was last year. I think repossessions are up. The first time we've had the delinquencies, they're higher than the recession period. So those cars are coming, double the new car inventory that's out there. So there's more new cars. Incentives are hitting 8 to 10 grand off of Rams and F-150s. So what's that going to do to the used car market? Elon Musk is screwing shit up with dropping price
on Teslas. We got the rental cars coming out.
Yeah, the rental cars coming out, and then 3-year-old cars. People are acquiring those, or those are going to be coming in too. Because here's the thing: my wife is on a lease on a Volvo. It's a 3-year lease. It's up in June, right? And these are the perfect cars to have right now. But I couldn't sell it. Well, I'd have to buy it, and then I could sell it, but I couldn't trade it in. So we found a used Porsche Macan at a Volvo store. And I said, hey, I want to trade in my Volvo lease for this. Can't do that. It has to be a new Volvo or a certified Volvo. So I ended up buying a BMW for her, a used BMW in January, and we've had 2 car payments for 6 months, and that car's just sitting. It's not coming back into the market because these manufacturers all changed the rules, and now these people are stuck in cars and they're going to buy it. So I think those cars will start trickling in once those, because think about it, it's like June, July when leases is big, right? The summer sales events. So 3 years ago, there's plenty of cars. Those are hitting right now, but they can't trade them out because they probably need a used car and they won't let them walk from them. So that's all going to happen too. So I think it's going to be a tricky next 6 to 12 months. Man.
What advice would you give dealers, independent and franchise, that are watching this right now?
I was talking to you yesterday about this. Think in twos. If you want to turn your inventory 30 days, that means you don't want a car going over 60 days old. So the car you're buying today, even though the market's strong, what is that car going to look like 60 days from now? So that's a 2-month cycle, right? So you buy it's a 2-day-old car and you go, that's a fresh car, I don't have to worry. Yeah, but if it's sticking around by August 15th, what's the market going to look like? It's probably going to be worse. So get that thing moving. And by thinking in twos, you're only 3 buying cycles away from next year. And next year's the election year. And that always screws up the market because the politicians take all the ad dollars, drives up, and then people sit on their hands because they don't know where their economy's going. So keep that inventory moving because, like I said, the next 6 to 12 months, which is right around the corner, it's not that far away. I would be on at least a 60, if not a 90-day aging policy to sell these things.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about it off camera, and basically a lot of people were buying way over MMR at the auctions during tax season. And then all of a sudden I hear all my dealers clapping like, yeah, I bought cars under MMR. I got this car $2,000 back of MMR. I was like, it's going that way because the market is going down. It's not that you just got a good deal, but the market's slowly changing. So I think the fact of, like you said, keeping that 2-month period, constantly turning over your inventory and looking towards the future is definitely what dealers need to do. But I want to thank you so much again for coming on, and then looking forward to our next podcast.
Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
So we just finished. We had a great time. I spent 3 days here. I originally was supposed to only be here for just 1 hour speech, but it was great to connect to everybody. I think I'm going to come every single year because it's been a blast. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to a lot of the booths. This is the last day. A lot of the people either left or some of the people are a little bit shy. They didn't want to get on camera, but it's been a great time. So I definitely recommend any independent dealer that's starting their business or been in business for a few years, definitely come to this because you can never stop learning. That's the whole purpose of this channel. And also I think it'll show some consumers from the other end on how big the automotive industry is and how much stuff basically goes along with it and how complicated our business is. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and we'll see you next time.